December 20th, 1957. A brand new Boeing 707 lifts off for the first time and settles into a cruise of 600 miles an hour. Now think about the last flight you took: a 787, an A320, a 777. Pull up the cruise speed, Mach 0.85, which works out to about the same, 600 miles an hour. Sit with that. We went from the horse to the jet in 50 years. We went from the jet to nowhere. 68 years of titanium, of composites, of computers that can land the plane themselves, and the one number that should have climbed has not moved an inch. So here's the question that should bother you every time you board. Why? You probably think you know. The sound barrier. The plane can't punch through Mach 1. And that, the thing your science teacher told you, is wrong. Not slightly wrong, completely wrong. Because a passenger jet crossed that barrier decades ago. It cruised at Mach 2.04, 1,345 miles an hour. Its name was Concorde, and it proved the barrier was never the problem. The real wall is invisible. You can't see it, you can't touch it, and it has trapped every airliner on Earth at the same speed for 3 generations. And it isn't one wall. It's 3. A wall of air, a wall of money, a wall of law. By the end of this, you'll know what each one is made of. You'll meet a Soviet jet that tore itself apart in front of 100,000 spectators. A strip of titanium, 17 inches long, that killed 113 people. And a NASA pilot who, 11 days ago, flew straight through the wall to try and tear it down for good. Because here's the truth this whole story turns on. The limit was never the engine. It was the air. You're in seat 14A, 35,000 feet. The wing outside your window is fighting a battle you can't see. Let's break it down. Start with a lie we all believe. Mach 1 is 760 miles an hour, so Mach 0.85 must be around 650. Right? Wrong. And the reason matters. The speed of sound isn't a fixed number. It depends on temperature, and the air at 35,000 feet is brutally cold. NASA puts the speed of sound up there at about 660 miles an hour, so your Mach 0.85 jet is actually slicing through the air at roughly 560. The 600-mile-an-hour airliner is real. It's just that we measure its speed in a number most people have never thought about: Mach, the fraction of the speed of sound, and that fraction is where the trap is hidden. Here's the part nobody tells you. A wing is curved on top. Air has to travel farther over that curve, so it speeds up, which means when your plane is flying at Mach 0.85, the air racing over the top of the wing is moving even faster, fast enough in places to go supersonic. The plane is subsonic. The wing is not. In March of 1952, an NACA engineer named Milton Van Dyke wrote this down in a report, Technical Note 2670, and gave it a name: the critical Mach number, the exact moment the air on the wing first hits the speed of sound, even though the aircraft is nowhere near it. And just past that point, something violent happens. Shock waves form on the wing, out of nothing. And drag, the force pulling the plane backward, doesn't rise gently. It explodes. This is it. This is the wall. Engineers call it drag divergence. Push your speed a tiny bit higher, and the drag doesn't go up a little. It goes up a lot, a steep, punishing curve. Every extra mile per hour now costs a wildly disproportionate amount of fuel. The air itself stiffens against the wing like a hand pushed flat against a car window at speed. Except this hand pushes back hard enough to stop an industry cold. So the wall is real, it's invisible, and it's made of air turning supersonic before you are. Now, engineers are stubborn people. They didn't accept the wall. They spent decades trying to push it back, and they had 3 weapons. The first came from a German aerodynamicist named Adolf Busemann. In 1935, at a conference in Rome, he showed off an idea that sounded absurd. Angle the wings backward. A swept wing fools the air. It only feels the slice of airflow crossing it directly, so it behaves as if the plane were flying slower than it really is. The critical Mach number moves up. The wall moves back. A decade later, an American at NACA named Robert Jones arrived at the same answer independently. Boeing bolted it onto the 707 with more sweep than anyone else dared, and that wing made it about 20 miles an hour faster than its closest rival. The second weapon came from one man who shows up twice in this story, Richard Whitcomb at NASA Langley. In 1965, with a colleague named Larry Clark, he published a strange-looking wing, flattened, on top instead of curved, the supercritical airfoil. It tamed the shockwave instead of fighting it. In the test data, it shoved the moment of violent drag rise from Mach 0.67 all the way out to Mach 0.79. That's not a rounding error. That's the difference between a slow plane and a modern one. And the third weapon, also Whitcomb. Back in 1952, he'd realized the wing wasn't the whole problem. The entire shape of the aircraft, fuselage, tail, engines, creates one combined drag problem at these speeds. Pinch the fuselage in where the wings meet it, give the plane a Coke bottle waist, and the drag near the speed of sound drops by as much as 60%. When they rebuilt a struggling fighter, the F-102, around this rule, it got 25% faster. Same engine, just a smarter shape. Sweep the wing, flatten the wing, pinch the body, 3 brilliant tricks, and here's the gut punch. Every single one of them only moved the wall. None of them broke it. We didn't defeat the air. We just learned to walk right up to its edge and stop. But if the physics can be pushed back, why did we stop pushing? That answer isn't written in the sky. It's written in a spreadsheet. Let's kill the obvious objection. Just add more engine. Modern jet engines have power to spare, so why don't airlines simply open the throttle and push through the drag wall? Because of an equation, and a number every airline dispatcher lives by. The equation is old. It's called the Breguet range equation, and it ties together 4 things: how fast you fly, how slippery your plane is, how thirsty your engine is, and how much fuel you carry. The lesson buried inside it is merciless. Past a certain speed, flying faster doesn't cost you a little range. It costs you a lot. Pilots measure this with something called specific range, literally how many miles you get per pound of fuel. And there's a speed where that number is best. Fly faster than it, and you're lighting money on fire for almost no time saved. Boeing actually quantified the trade. Their own engineers describe a setting called long-range cruise. Push the speed up a notch, you gain 3 to 5% in velocity, but you only sacrifice about 1% of your fuel mileage. That's the sweet spot. That's the deal airlines are willing to make. Go any faster than that, and the curve turns vicious. The drag wall is waiting. So airlines built a dial for exactly this. It's called the cost index. On one end, fly as efficiently as possible and burn minimum fuel. On the other, fly faster and burn more to save time. Every flight you've ever taken, someone set that dial, balancing the cost of your time against the cost of jet fuel. And the math almost never says go faster, because the wall of air made faster the most expensive word in aviation. There's one more reason brute force fails, and it's hanging off the wing. Look at a modern engine. The GE9X is the size of a small living room. A bypass ratio over 10 to 1, a pressure ratio of 60 to 1. It is a masterpiece of efficiency at Mach 0.85. It's not a speed engine, it's a fuel-sipping air pump, optimized down to the last molecule for exactly the speed we already fly. Now compare it to an engine built to break the wall. Concorde's Olympus 593. To get past the drag rise and stay supersonic, it needed reheat, afterburners, dumping raw fuel into the exhaust and lighting it. 38,000 pounds of thrust, drinking fuel at a rate no airline accountant could stomach for everyday flying. That's the choice, laid bare. You can have an engine that's efficient at 600 miles an hour, or an engine that's fast and ruinously thirsty. You cannot have both. The physics won't allow it. And now the 68-year mystery finally makes sense. The 707 and the 787 cruise at the same speed, not because we got lazy. We got better at everything else. Range, safety, fuel burn, noise. all of it transformed. Speed was the one frontier where the air and the spreadsheet agreed. Stop here. The limit was never the engine, it was the air, and the money the air costs. So if it's all economics, what happens when someone decides they don't care about the money? What happens when a country builds a plane to smash the wall on purpose? It happened twice, and both times it ended in fire. January 1976. Concorde enters service, and for the first time, paying passengers cross the wall. The numbers still sound like science fiction. Mach 2.04, 1,345 miles an hour, 60,000 feet, so high you could see the curve of the Earth. New York to London in under 3.5 hours. It didn't push the wall back, it went straight through it, but the wall takes its payment. At Mach 2, friction heats the airframe until the nose reaches 103, 27 degrees Celsius, hot enough to burn you. The whole aircraft grew. In flight, Concorde physically stretched about 7 inches from the heat. They built it from a special aluminum alloy, living right at the edge of what metal could survive. Fly any faster toward Mach 3, and aluminum simply melts out of the running. You'd need titanium, exotic fuels, an entirely different and astronomically expensive machine. The wall doesn't just charge you in fuel, it charges you in heat. And then there was the law. When Concorde goes supersonic, it drags a sonic boom across the ground behind it, a continuous wall of noise, mile after mile. People hated it. So in 1973, the United States banned civil supersonic flight over land. The rule still exists today, Code of Federal Regulations, Section 91.817, and it gutted the entire business model. Concorde could only go supersonic over the ocean. Every valuable overland route, New York to Los Angeles, London to the Middle East, was off the table. Half the map erased by a single regulation. So picture the trap Concorde was in, burning fuel by the ton, carrying only 100 passengers, charging fares that by the end hit $12,000 round trip. Banned from flying fast over land. A magnificent machine, boxed into a corner by physics, fuel, and law all at once. It was already fragile. And then came July 25th, 2000, Air France Flight 4590. Registration, FBTSC. It's accelerating down the runway at Paris when a tire on the left main gear runs over a thin strip of titanium, 17 inches long, 1.5 millimeters thick, that had fallen off a Continental DC-10 that departed minutes earlier. The tire explodes. Debris slams into the underside of the wing. A fuel tank ruptures. Fire. The investigators at France's BEA traced the whole chain: the strip, the tire, the tank, the flames, the loss of thrust, the loss of lift. It never recovered. 113 people died, 9 crew, 100 passengers, 4 people on the ground. It wasn't the crash alone that killed Concorde. The business was already dying. Too thirsty, too small, too restricted. But the crash shattered the confidence that was holding it together. By October 24, 2003, Concorde flew its last passengers and retired forever. The only airliner that ever beat the wall surrendered to it. And here's the part most people don't know. Concorde wasn't even first. A Soviet jet beat it into the sky, the Tupolev Tu-144 Concordski, first to fly on December 31, 1968. But on June 3, 1973, at the Paris Air Show, in front of 100,000 people, Tu-144 registration CCCP 77102 pitched up, broke apart in mid-air, and rained down onto the village below. 6 crew, 8 people on the ground, 14 dead. The Soviets confronted the same enemy, the same drag, the same heat, the same impossible economics, and lost. 2 nations, 2 of the most ambitious machines ever built. Both crossed the wall, neither survived the cost. So who got closest without crossing? The fastest civilian jets you can actually buy. The Cessna Citation 10, certified at Mach 0.935. The old Convair 990, designed for Mach 0.91. They sprinted right up to the edge of the wall and stopped. And notice what they are: tiny business jets and niche airliners. Because that last sliver of speed before the wall is so expensive. Only the wealthy and the impatient ever pay for it. The wall of air, the wall of money, the wall of law. 3 walls, and for 70 years, no airliner has gotten past all 3. But someone is trying right now. And it's why this story isn't over. On January 28, 2025, a sleek demonstrator called the XB-1 lifted off from the Mojave Desert. Its pilot, Tristan Brandenburg, pushed it to Mach 1.122, 750 miles an hour. The first independently built civil jet to break the sound barrier. The company behind it, Boom, is building an airliner called Overture, meant to carry up to 80 passengers at Mach 1.7. They're betting they can beat the wall of money. But the wall of law was still standing. The overland ban, that 1973 rule, was the thing nobody could engineer around. You can't outdesign a regulation unless you change what the regulation is afraid of. 11 days ago, June 5th, 2026, NASA flew an aircraft called the X-59 Supersonic for the first time. Its pilot's call sign is Clue. Jim Clueless took it to Mach 1.1. But the X-59 isn't built for speed, it's built for silence. Its entire bizarre, needle-nosed shape exists to do one thing: cross the wall without producing a boom, turning that thunderclap into something closer to a soft thump on the ground. If it works, NASA can hand regulators the evidence to finally rewrite the law that grounded supersonic flight for half a century. It's the most direct assault on the wall in 50 years. But make no mistake, the wall still stands. Boom still has to make the economics work. The X-59 is a research aircraft, not a ticket you can buy. And the wall of air, the original wall, the one made of shock waves and drag, that one hasn't moved at all. So, back to seat 14A, 35,000 feet, 600 miles an hour. The wing outside your window, still fighting the same invisible battle it has fought since 1957. Now you know what's really out there. A wall of air, where the wing goes supersonic before you do, and drag explodes the instant you push too hard. A wall of money, where every extra mile per hour costs fuel no airline will burn. And a wall of law, where the boom you'd leave behind is banned over every city worth flying to. 3 walls. One reason your 600-mile-an-hour flight is, very likely, the fastest you will ever travel. We didn't stop because we ran out of engine. We stopped because Adolf Buseman and Robert Jones and Richard Whitcomb pushed the wall as far as it would go. And then physics and arithmetic and the law all met at the same line and said, here. No further. Not because we couldn't, because it was never ever worth it. The limit was never the engine, it was the air. Concorde knew it. The 2144 knew it. And somewhere over the Mojave Desert right now, a needle-nosed NASA jet is trying to teach the air a new lesson. So here's the question to leave you with, next time you're pressed back in your seat on takeoff, watching the ground fall away. We have machines that can cross the wall. We've had them for 50 years. The only thing stopping you from boarding one isn't the sky, it's the math. So if someone finally makes the math work, would you pay double to land 3 hours sooner? Because the day they do, this whole story starts over.